Okay, welcome everyone, and thank you for joining our online practice session today. I'm Karen Jensen, Tricycle's web editor. In just a moment, I'm going to invite Loch Kelly to lead our meditation, but first I wanted to say a few things about how this call will work. Loch will start out by sharing a few words about our current situation, and then he'll lead a guided meditation. Just a reminder, since we're on a Zoom webinar, participants' audio and video are off. And if you have any questions for Loch, you can type them in the Q&A panel accessible through the button below the video screen. We'll get to as many questions as possible towards the end of the call today, which will go for about an hour. We are recording the session for anyone who's unable to attend live. But don't worry, again, only Loch's video will be recorded, not yours. And you will be able to find that recording later at tricycle.org/live. We are really glad to be able to offer these opportunities to connect with wonderful teachers like Loch, and we are grateful for the support and inspiration they can provide in these challenging times. So I'll give a brief introduction. Loch Kelly is the author of the award-winning book, The Way of Effortless Mindfulness. He is a licensed psychotherapist and a recognized leader in the field of meditation and awakening. He studied insight meditation in Sri Lanka and Mahamudra in Nepal with Tulku Urgyen Rinpoche. He is the founder of the nonprofit Open-Hearted Awareness Institute. Loch is known for his warm sense of humor and his trust that awakening is the next natural stage of development. He teaches the advanced yet simple, direct methods of effortless mindfulness informed by psychology and social justice. Loch collaborates with neuroscientists at Yale, UPenn, and NYU in the study of how awareness training can enhance compassion and well-being. And he's also taught a Tricycle course called Effortless Mindfulness, and your website too is effortlessmindfulness.org.
That's right.
And you mentioned before that you have a retreat coming up?
Yes, an online retreat. Everyone's welcome from around the world, May 9th, Saturday, and we'll go more deeply into some of the practices of effortless mindfulness.
Cool. Great, so we can get started. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you so much, Karen, and thank you, Tricycle, and welcome everyone. I'm just really feeling the amazing connection as I read on the right, people from all over the world, France, UK, Scotland, Netherlands, Providence, Rhode Island, Washington, D.C., Montreal. So it's just amazing to have this opportunity during this challenging times. I know that the Chinese word for crisis is the same as opportunity. So in some ways, what we're doing is acknowledging both dimensions of these challenging times, of the feelings and the emotions and the changes and the challenges that are coming up for us, and also the opportunity, the challenge of social distancing, and yet the opportunity of compassionate connection, the ability to reach out and connect to others who we may have not been in contact with, and really share on a level of finding out how everyone's doing, and to practice compassion, both a time to practice giving compassion and, importantly, to receive compassion. Yeah, so it's both this giving and receiving opportunity that we have at this time. And I'm here in New York City in the midst of a lot of the activity, and have been connecting to some of the hospital workers and first responders, leading some meditations through Zoom and sharing some YouTubes with them, and gotten some amazing response from them in terms of their joining together. And people, I know people in many cities like New York at 7 p.m. all cheer and ring bells and and bang their pots to thank the first responder. So just to begin with thanking those who are showing up in many ways, to feel gratitude for our own life and breath, and to begin with kind of a dedication of compassion to all beings who are suffering everywhere. And as we practice today, to offer this kind of sincere intention that may all beings be well and happy, may all beings find that awakeness that they already are, and share it compassionately with others. So why don't we begin with a short little glimpse practice, and then I'll go into some other variety of effortless mindfulness glimpses. So this one's called the 4 dynamic stillnesses. So the first stillness is the stillness of the body. So just allow yourself, wherever you are, to feel the connection to everyone and the support of this time and community, and the gratitude that you've given yourself this time and space. Then just settle into your body. And just notice on some level how your body can be still like a mountain, that earth element. Your shoulders can relax and hang almost like they're on a hanger. Perhaps your spine like coins stacked on top of each other. And feel the support of the earth, the contact with the ground. Feel that stillness. And then just letting your awareness move curiously from the earth to the deep stillness of water, to find the silence and stillness that has a stillness and movement to it. Body mostly made of water. Flow of your breath. Just feeling that deep water stillness flow. And then just notice the dynamic stillness of movement, sensations, thoughts, feelings, mind objects. Just the dancing emptiness. And notice particularly hearing, just hearing. Hearings both outside and in. Feel the vibration changing moment to moment. Neither focused on what you're hearing or who's hearing. Where is the hearer? Just hearing. And then follow that hearing that's both inside and out, follow it out to notice vibration in the space in the room. So as you notice the stillness of space in which sound is coming and going, just feel that space within and all around. As you open your awareness to mingle with that space and see whether you find the dynamic stillness of awareness itself. Spacious and pervasive. Even following sound out to its furthest point Let awareness follow it out. And then just go beyond the boundary of sound until you find this limitless awareness that's already aware without your help. Just resting as a boundless, timeless awareness itself. And as this awake awareness, just curiously noticing that the first movement or sensation is made of awareness. So feel the inseparable pair of awareness and movement, so that you feel that you can remain open and feel the sense of unity or same taste of awareness and aliveness, like an ocean of awareness that arises as the wave of your body and the wave of everyone and everything in the world. So you can begin to feel the interconnected feeling of flow and movement. And from this spaciousness, feel as if you've dropped from head to heart, mind, as you connect back with your full body. And from this spacious awareness that's here, just noticing your breath happening by itself. And just notice that awareness is happening by itself. So curious about the content, breath, sensation, thoughts, changes. And then just curiously be a little more interested in the context rather than the content. Just rest as that which doesn't come and go. Where are you aware from? As you now feel the arising of both space, movement, and flow. Just opening and including, resting back down to this all-at-onceness, effortless awareness. Doesn't need to form a manager or a meditator. Curiously, where are you aware from when everything's welcome? From this open-hearted awareness, which is what ties all the dynamic stillness together. This open mind, open heart, just resting as this ground. That doesn't come and go, that arises and dances. So just taking a little more deeper intentional breath in, 3-part breath. And as you breathe out, just breathe out a little slower, maybe through your mouth, a little longer, feeling space and body. Now, just opening your eyes if they've been closed. So as you breathe in now, breathe in and look up and smile. Notice the space. And as you breathe out, just let out a sigh. And feel this quality of open-hearted awareness, bodhicitta. So, just a simple way to include all the dimensions of your consciousness. And we'll just take some time to do some of these glimpse practices, because I feel like what I can offer best is some tools that are unique and a little different, maybe a little stepping stone or a different addition to your practice as you already practice. So the premise of effortless mindfulness is not that it's takes no effort. That would be quite an effort to make no effort. But that when you move awareness, when awareness moves itself, it discovers an awareness that's already effortlessly aware. And then being aware from there, there's an arising of this aliveness that's made of the awareness. So that's the interdependence, interconnection, emptiness. Form is emptiness, emptiness is form. So the hypothesis is the awakeness that we're seeking is already here as each of us. That it doesn't need to be developed or created. That in some ways we're resting, calming the small mind and calming the body and nervous system in order to recognize this awareness. Yeah. And then shifting not only as a passive meditation state, but literally the new operating system, so that you can be aware from awareness back with a greater capacity to find that which can bear what seems to be unbearable. So the tendency is for us, when we're in our small mind, is to collapse or almost contract when we're in pain or cold. Yeah. And we create a small separate sense of self. And literally, the way we operate, if you look now and feel, it feels like where you're listening from or where you're looking from. Just notice, where are you aware from? Where are you aware of your breath from? You're aware of your breath at your belly, but where are you aware from? So we start to recognize that there's this constellation of consciousness, which is really what the small separate sense of self is. And the small separate sense of self is the root of suffering. It creates this craving and aversion because it's trying to solve the problem of itself. And the little small self, which is supposed to be just a function that helps with problems mentally, becomes I think, therefore I am, and then grasps out and creates more problems than it solves. So if that primary sense of identity could relax for a moment, and we were able to realize this already awake, embodied, open-hearted, effortless mindfulness, then we could be aware of issues or feelings or problems or whatever is going on within us and outside from an awake consciousness, from open-hearted heart-mind. So with that premise that this little separate sense of self creates a little mini-me in our heads looking out of our eyes, and it tries very hard to solve the problem of self and try to be safe, but emotions get too big and too strong. So at a time like this, it almost is an opportunity, when there is so much going on, to upgrade to this more awake consciousness, rather than just calming and soothing the mind and body. if we upgrade to that which has capacity, we can see whether we can experience that directly. So here's a simple little pointer or inquiry that you can try. So the premise is that we're acknowledging all the relative problems or issues or things that we have to deal with, but we're trying to let go of the problem solver and upgrade to this already awake consciousness. So the inquiry is this: what's here now when there's no problem to solve? So just understanding it with your mind, but then let your awareness, let the problem solver relax, and let your awareness drop back and down. And what's aware? What's here? Where are you aware from? Just now, when there's no problem to solve on the level of identity. Just notice the relief, the dimensionality, the non-worry, the non-fear, and then the invisible, awake capacity that's able to be with any situations, emotions from a different level of mind. So it's mindfulness from awake consciousness, mindfulness from Bodhichitta. Just feel what that's like. And you can play with this. It's a simple little unburdening or untying of a knot into that which is already awake. So what's here? What's this like? And what's it like to be aware from here? And welcome or include everything without identifying or contracting back. Yeah, so that's something to play with. It's a very simple, direct practice to show how close this awake consciousness is, how immediate it can be accessed, and how loving and how open-hearted and open-minded and alert it is. So you begin to feel that this immediacy of effortless mindfulness. So let's do another short one. So this practice is a direct experience of bodhicitta, heart-mind. So one of the interesting stories is that when one of the first neuroscientists went to Tibet to study meditators there who were doing a 3-year retreat, Herbert Benson was his name. And he brought these big suitcases of instruments, and he sat up front in front of these monks who were completing their retreat. So they have done fairly advanced practices similar to what we're doing here. And so he said, okay, and then he took one of these bathing caps with those nodules on them. And he said to the monks, okay, and then we're going to study your meditation by putting this on and measuring what's going on in your meditation. And they all started laughing. And the head monk was like, no, please respect the nice Western scientists. Said, yes, okay, well, when we put this on you, we'll be able to see what your meditation. And they were like, laughing away. And so he said, what's so funny? And so the monk said, well, when we meditate, it's here and here. This is where we experience meditation is this is where it feels like it's happening, it's touching, it's dynamic, yeah, in this heart mind, heart space. So here's the glimpse practice called dropping from head to heart mind. So the premise is in this movement is that the awareness that's awake can be aware non-locally and locally, that we don't have to be aware from this point of view, from this constellation of consciousness. This becomes, as you notice in deliberate mindfulness, just a constellation of consciousness. So what we're going to do here is ask your awareness to unhook and drop, to be aware of your jaw from your jaw, to decenter and be aware of your throat from your throat, and then literally have your awareness drop into your upper body, feel your upper body from within, and then go behind and below your emotional heart into this heart space. So it's not your emotional heart, it's not your physical heart, it's not your heart chakra, it's not just your belly brain, it's actually this doorway that connects and touches your emotional heart, your physical heart, your belly brain, and your heart chakra, but it's like a door that opens up to the awareness that has your back and goes deep within, and then it's kind of the feeling of where you're aware from, that you can remain at home and look out of the eyes of the heart. Yeah, so that's the premise, and now for the practice. So you can't unhook awareness from thought. This is the trick why people have hard time doing it. So the doer, the thinker, even the meditator can't unhook and drop from into their heart mind. Only your already awake consciousness, your awake awareness can move itself, because it's not passive. That your awakeness that's already within you, that's who I'm talking to. Okay? So I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to you. You, the awake one. And you just have to feel somehow that your awareness can move itself without a doer or a thinker or a meditator moving it. And then see what happens. Yeah? So let's try that. So eyes open or closed, whichever you like. So just feel that first sense of looking, where you're looking from, where you're hearing from, where you're thinking from. I don't know if I can do this. I think I can. I'm going to try hard. Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm not supposed to try hard. Okay, don't try hard. Okay, who's going to? Me? Okay, you. So whatever that's happening there, feel as if awareness is what thought is made of, so that awareness can simply unhook and step back. Just notice non-thought-based alertness. And then feel as if awareness is moving itself somehow as it drops to be aware of your jaw and your smile directly from within your jaw. So just check that you're not stretching attention down or looking down or going up to see, am I aware of my jaw from my jaw? But literally decenter, feel the awareness, drop, and be aware of your throat now from within your throat. So feel the aliveness, the space, and the awareness from within. Now feel as if that awareness can drop below your neck and be aware of your upper body from your upper body. You're not going up to thought to check, you're feeling this awareness, intelligence locally from the non-local. And then feel as if the awareness can go kind of behind and below the emotional heart into this heart space. And then go deep within the space within the atoms. Just drop the awareness into that living stream, or that deep silence space. So just finding home. So deep that it may open from this door of the heart to the more boundless heart or universal heart. So just staying down. Sometimes people play with this like a water balloon, like a balloon in water. Stay, stay. And just notice, what is it like to be aware of your body from within and not orient to thought, to be alert, aware of your heart space, from your heart space, and then aware from, almost like you're perceiving or connected from your heart mind, both out, and feel as if your awareness can open up around and behind your back till it finds an awareness in all directions that's behind you, that has your back, that's already awake without your help. And then feel as if as that awareness, like an ocean of awareness, comes into your body, arises as every cell in your being, as if each cell has a little smile, and looks out of the eyes of your heart until this support of this ground of being and this true nature can now welcome all emotions and parts with compassionate capacity. So just letting yourself feel this energy of Bodhichitta, this heart, wise heart, literally, that's able to be with and within all emotions as they arise. And then from here you find new motivation to create and relate. Just hanging out here, aware of the breath from the breath and from all around. Nothing to do, just being. Notice that you don't have to think to be. What's being like? You don't have to do anything to be. What's resting like? As this alert awakeness that's deeper than sleep and yet wide awake. Like a dynamic heart that has creative interest and motivation to connect, is naturally connected to others, and has a natural loving kindness that arises, you may notice, without needing to imagine it. Let it flower. You may be able to play a little bit with this more later, or you may have had a taste of it. So this is one of the practices that can be wonderfully transformative. And the idea is to get to this sense of your true nature or your spacious and pervasive open heart that literally is open heart, spacious, non-local, local, interconnected. So you're untying the knots of these other types of consciousness. Even a meditator that can step above, and then you're looking. So in deliberate mindfulness, you're kind of focused on the contents of consciousness, thoughts, feelings, sensations, and mind objects, parts of us or patterns. And in effortless, you're aware of what's aware of the content. So you're opening to look who's behind the camera of the meditator, opening up to the natural field that's equally here now and interconnected and boundless and loving. So there's a natural untying of these knots to return home to your heart space. And then once you're home, you're using Wi-Fi from the office of your head down to your home. You don't have to live in your office. And then you're motivated to love and create and relate and be more compassionate because you feel this sense of okayness or well-being. So just check that out, whether there's a kind of safety that isn't just sleepy or spacey or blissy, just blissy, though there's some joy and love, but kind of a compassionate intelligence, wise heart, yeah. To see whether that can be accessed directly. So, okay, there's a few I could do. Okay, let me do one that's, all right, let's do one that's open-eyed meditation, because a lot of these wonderful teachers on Tricycle and other places often do closed eyes meditation or half closed. So in order to live an awakened life, most of the time our eyes are open. So our eyes tend to be connected to our grasping small self and often are scanning for danger and interpreting. Yeah, so if we can relax the eyes and open to this more panoramic embodied view, then we can feel that we can practice off the cushion. So this in some ways is a good practice off the cushion. It's kind of like a what's called sky gazing, but it has a couple other elements. So when we hear a sound, the way most of us perceive it is as if it's received, right? It's like sound travels through the air to our ears. So just on a biological normal level, hearing is receiving, yeah? But if I were to grab this flower and say, look at this, now look at this, now look at this, now look at this. It's almost like our eyes are like our hands. They go out to see, almost like I am seeing the flower. So the first thing is to realize that light is reflecting off of objects and coming to your eyes. So seeing is receiving, just as hearing is on the biological level. So what's that like? Just to let your eyes not grasp and not be connected to the grasping mind. Just receiving, let your eyes float in their sockets, and then let awareness move from focusing on the object to the space between you and the screen, and then let your awareness rest back to the space between your ears, and let your awareness rest back to the space behind you where you can discover an awareness that's already awake. And if you're doing anything, you're letting your awareness rest back until it finds that awareness without your help is connecting to your body and connecting to the flower and to the screen. So you're just turning the light of awareness around, going through your head to the awareness that has your back and that is naturally connected. And then again, just feeling that your eyes are resting, receiving, feeling you can look a little above your screen. And then just as we unhooked awareness and let it drop, just notice that awareness can begin to move to the sides. So your eyes are not moving when your peripheral vision opens, but just let your awareness open to the sides. And as you do, breathe and smile. And then feel as if awareness, as your peripheral vision opens, can let go of seeing and somehow is aware of the space, the side of your body in which sound is coming and going. And then curiously feel awareness open to be aware of the space behind you. So there's this open view. Your awareness is open to the space all around. And then just be curious, am I aware of the spacious awareness? Or what's it like if I've discovered an awareness that's already effortlessly aware, equally inside and out? And then as that awareness, just curiously notice when the first vibration or movement or sensation, is it made of awareness? Is it arising as a wave in the ocean of awareness? So you can remain open, spacious, and pervasive, but you feel that there's an inseparable pair of awareness and aliveness, that it's not just arising and passing through the awareness, but there's an interconnected field. As you breathe in and let a sigh, feel that you're dropped from head to heart space. You're aware from outside and within. So the awareness is equally inside and out. So the awareness that's everywhere doesn't have to go outside, then inside, then outside, then inside. It can be aware of the seamless evenness from the boundless, timeless here-ness that's arising. And when you find this awareness that's equally inside and out, what it does is it balances your default mode network and your task mode network. And you feel this undistracted, naturally undistracted, open-hearted interconnectedness that gets your brain and body on board with this consciousness that's not aware from here, not going out, not going in, not going out, not going in, but includes your thinking and body as one dimension of this awareness that's your true nature, spacious, pervasive, interconnected, dropped, open, and welcoming. So then from here is where you can welcome emotions and parts and aspects of yourself that are contracted and tremoring or have some trauma from this loving capacity. And it's what I use both in teaching meditation and what is most effective working with people who have complex trauma, introducing them to this loving presence that can be with this. So it's quite remarkable that we have this opportunity now to upgrade and to begin to glimpse the awakeness that we are, and to support each other in this kind of contemporary way of bringing together wisdom traditions and neuroscience and psychology in a way that is most needed at this time. Not only is it possible, learnable, teachable, but almost necessary. So that's why I hope that many of you, as I've heard from many of my students who have used this time to really kind of report, more stabilized, compassionate life, I hope that many of you will find your way too. So let's open it up. I'm happy to stay extra time, but we have 15 minutes now for comments, questions, reports, and then I'll stay an extra 15 minutes or half an hour as people like. So.
Okay, thank you so much, Loch. We have a few questions already.
Okay.
So from Marija, I'm sorry if I'm saying your name incorrectly. They're asking, I find these practices you presented very effective. Thanks so much. How do we, quote, upgrade, connect to the effortless awareness in the moments when emotions are strong?
Yes.
How do we untie these strong knots?
Yes. So, I mean, in some ways, one of the, the wise sayings is, it tends to be easier with easier things, medium with medium things, and harder with harder things. So the first thing is to learn, it's easier to learn these techniques in the morning in your meditation time, during sitting, and then practice them in medium times, and then they're available in the more difficult times. However, they are available in the most difficult times once you learn the principles. And I mean, I know people who have, as I mentioned, complex trauma, severe history, who have learned how to access. But the key is, it's available, learnable, and to find your own way. We did, like 3 or 4 little glimpses. I have, 100. They're usually divided into learning styles and inner and outer doorways. So once you find your own match of how to do it, you make it your own. You learn to return and you train to remain. And once you discover it in a difficult time, you can find some space, step out, and then the key is to come immediately back from the spacious, pervasive awareness, not to dissociate, depersonalize, or do a spiritual bypass, but open in order to include. And so you just start to realize that once you're really caught in something, can you drop and then come back? Can you open and come back? Can you stop, remember what works? And then literally the main metaphor I use is as if we're in this cloud of consciousness and we're trying to clean it up and stop the storm. And so the feeling is awareness steps out of the cloud and realizes it's the sky, drops below the cloud and realizes it's the ocean, and then embraces the smaller pattern. Because when you're in the cloud, the storm is big, the storm cloud. When you're in the sky, weather comes and goes, and you can be with and within the storm cloud. So definitely possible, and let me know how it goes.
We have one question from Lydia. once we reach that pervasive awareness, I tend to grasp it and I don't want to let it fade away. And I go back to the small self again. What should I do?
Yeah, so that's a, that's beautiful noticing, that it's such a relief to find the spacious and pervasive. So then, the grasping mind will try to own, it as if it's an experience of me. So often you want to stay in the kind of flow and then just be curious, is this a meditation state I'm having, or is this more of who I am, to which this other state that wants to grasp is the state that's coming and going. Grab it, hold it, keep it. It's like, then you start to see that part of you rather than identify with the sense of self that is wanting to, grab relief in a temporary experience. So let yourself just be curious about how to include from the bigger, and notice those voices, parts, kleshas and skandhas and other arising from, and then play. So, but that's the thing. It's this literally like, oh, I was able to do that. Oh, I was able to do that. Oh, I was able to get spacious and pervasive, and now grabbed it. Okay, start again. So so saying to yourself, no big surprise that I got caught, just re-recognize. And this is the small glimpses many times approach that just, kind of breaks the old habit and introduces you to awake consciousness that's already available.
Thank you. We have another question from Ryan.
Yeah.
How do you approach this practice with first responders or people in equally high stress situations? I think one of the most interesting parts of your teachings is the fact that you work with trauma patients, where I feel like this was powerful.
Yeah.
And so any advice on literature, suggestions for reading for an aspiring teacher? I think someone asked a question about resources.
Yeah. I mean, I'll put some resources are on my website. There's teachers who do trauma-based mindfulness. Dan Siegel is great for Bessel van der Kolk, and IFS therapy, are good with dealing with the body and trauma and the brain. But the way I work with them is to do some of these practices like those 4 levels to get out of the contracted and literally, what's here now when there's no problem to solve. That first one, when I first did it online with a group from Lenox Hill, they were all, it was like they woke up from a agitated sleep. They just were like, well, where did that go? Like, what was that? And it's actually dehypnotizing rather than hypnotizing. It's the hypnotizing is the contracted belief that I'm a separate self and I've got to, I have to fix it. So you dehypnotize from the trance of the ego, and it can be done fairly quickly, and then it has a calming effect because it's whole and loving. So so there's good literature. I'll have some on my website, and there's another video that I did on my YouTube channel, which is called Welcoming and Liberating Fear. So it's a kind of a progressive stepping back, feeling the fear. I am fear. I feel fear. I am aware of fear. I am the awareness that's aware of fear. And then fear is welcome. And then feeling that the fear can be welcomed by and literally within that progression, as if you're stepping out, stepping back into mindfulness, and then the awareness embracing. So that's a wonderful one that the hospital workers at Mount Sinai love that, and they share that and told me some of them use that when they get home and with their families too, who are just as afraid as they are. So thanks for that question.
Thank you. There's a question from Ari Pekka. Is there something to learn from deliberate mindfulness, or maybe perhaps mindfulness as most of us
Sure.
practice it, that you can use to help access effortless mindfulness?
Yes. So the answer is yes. So yes, I mean, traditionally, the beginning with deliberate mindfulness and then moving to effortless mindfulness. The deliberate often starts with calming and focusing, shamatha, calm abiding, and then the first stage of mindfulness is stepping out to see who you're not. Oh, I'm not this small self, the no self, anatta. And then effortless mindfulness is, okay, if I'm not that, then do I just calm that, even though I'm not that? Or is there bodhicitta? Is there a true nature of mind, bodhicitta, awake consciousness that can speak and talk and walk? So it's practice, and even when you are doing effortless mindfulness, many people love their sitting deliberate mindfulness practice, so they all interweave. So it's all complementary, and I just wanted to add this to your repertoire, and for those who are interested, and especially as you can do them during the day, and then when you do them when you're sitting, sometimes I call it, once you do a glimpse, you can just sit, and I call it marinating rather than meditating, because you're kind of marinating your body in this awakeness and kind of retraining your brain through new neural networks. So yeah, so they're complementary.
Okay, we have a question from Derek. I find that I can unhook, as you describe, and experience awareness without thought and feel that spaciousness. However, I don't seem to experience the next step where you move from seeing awareness to realizing that you are awareness. Any
Right.
pointers for specifically that part, merging or whatever with awareness outside yourself?
Yeah. So that's important, because you can, to kind of break it down into as like a checklist. Some people just, go almost like drop into your heart mind, the whole thing is untied and you don't need to go step by step, but you can get caught in being aware of awareness as if you are, aware of space, and you're still a small you aware of space, or you can even do the next step. So the key to what you're looking for is that it can't be you, the thinker or the doer, or even the mindful meditator or attention. You can't bring your attention of the small mind to the space or to the awareness. It's actually got to be that what feels like awareness. And if you do it inside, you can feel the difference, because attention looks from here and awareness can move. And then when it moves, to be aware of itself. And then you're aware from this larger awareness. It just takes a little practice, but yeah, I have some YouTubes, and my book breaks it down step by step, The Way of Effortless Mindfulness. And I have an audio track that has 31 little meditations that kind of build on each other. But it's not that hard. It takes the same amount of time, having taught both deliberate mindfulness, what most people call mindfulness, and effortless mindfulness. If you were to start with two beginners, it takes about the same amount of time to learn the practice and the basics, which is just a few months. And then you kind of are, then you're on your way. So yeah, so play with that awareness of awareness, and then awareness aware of itself, and then the awareness recognizes it's inseparable from form. So that's the real difference between like choiceless awareness, which is a kind of being aware from a vast or big sky mind. You still, in those, you're still feeling like thoughts, feelings, and sensations are arising and passing like birds or clouds. And you're the awareness that's separate. And in this, the non-dual move is, no, the awareness is what thoughts, sensations are made of. So if there's a unity or interdependence, which is what emptiness really means, is there's no separate things. Everything's interconnected. It's an relative reality, ultimate reality, or not two. So there's a feeling of interconnectedness or interdependence, which relieves the separate sense of self, which is the root. And you can function from it. It's not just a meditation state. It's like a flow state, or like being in the zone where you're literally optimally functioning and feeling interconnected in the now. Time kind of slows down and everything seems friendly, even gets liberated as it arises, because the awareness is the primary intelligence.
Thank you. We have a question from Heather as well, and maybe we should wrap up soon.
Okay.
But maybe this could be our last question. Actually, maybe let's do maybe two more. Heather asks, I have a 16-year-old son who I think these practices would really benefit. Are there considerations or suggestions you have for sharing these practices with teens?
Yeah, I mean, kind of making them fun and kind of not forcing them on them. That's, kind of the first thing I remember when I was 16. But I actually started, doing meditation when I was 16. So it's a kind of a transitional age. So like I made some fun YouTube videos. One's like a little dance video. It's called Bring the Heart Mind Online, and uses kind of techno music, and I made it for young people. And then I made an 8D surround sound video, which is kind of also got some tech stuff in it. And yeah, just something simple and playful. The kids love this one. I've worked with teenagers and even younger, like junior high kids. Okay, just stare at something now. Just let your awareness come around, open your peripheral vision, come back, take a breath. Now how's that feel? Does that feel different? Oh my God, oh my God. And then they're like running to the cafeteria. You should see this. You'd like, try this. Look, try this. So once they get a sense of just some little possibility of playfulness, YouTube videos are good because you don't have to teach them. They don't have to go sit in a hall. They can kind of like do their thing that they do. So that would be my suggestion.
Cool. And this will be our last question from Richard. When I began serious practice many years ago, I became aware of the shell I had created around myself as a Black male living in America. I used techniques such as yours to move outside that protective shell, but it never became effortless. How do you do that, create the effortless part of practice?
Yeah, so that's a beautiful question, because the little key is that you can't create effortlessness. Is that it's the hypothesis effortless awareness is already here and it's effortlessly aware without my help. Okay, so maybe I don't know that yet, but can the awareness that can unhook find that effortless mindfulness that I'm not doing. I'm not concentrating. I'm not focusing. I'm not using my attention. I'm aware. And when you're aware, speaking of kids, like I've worked with a lot of ADD, opening awareness to this effortless awareness that's embodied, you can effortlessly focus because you're not focusing from the chattering mind. So all that to say that, see if you can discover the effortless awareness that's literally the ground of being. It's the thing that's the safety, and the ground is made of the space, or this awareness that has your back, that feels okay, that feels loving. It may not feel loving at first. Sometimes people feel more neutral, just acceptance or okay or safe. And then it embraces all of you. It's deeper than shame, non-fear, non-worry, non-shame. Find this which can bear what seems to be unbearable. It's already lovingly, innocently who you've always been. It's just tuning, it's like tuning into that. Just trusting that no, 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 oh, whoa, oh, wow. And then it's like, oh my God, this is, I don't know how many times I've heard, this has been here all along. And most of us, and then people will say, and I've had glimpses of it, but I thought it had to do with nature or the people or where I was or the person or the thing I was doing. But the key is, it's this sense of well-being and loving bodhicitta, open-hearted, awake consciousness is here without going out to do anything or get anything. So as long as we're home, we might as well check it out, right? So see whether you can find the effortless. Tune in with awareness. That's the key. You can't tune in with the same. That's the transition. I'll say this is the last thing. The transition is the development of the attention that focuses on your breath, and even the mindful witness that focuses on your thoughts. That's not the type of awareness that can find awareness. So that's why people often don't go to the next stage. It's a third kind of awareness. It's a awake awareness that isn't looking from here. It's the local version of this spacious and pervasive field of awareness that's awake consciousness that can know itself. And when it, like a bubble of air, goes into this spacious air that's aware, then there's this dropping and natural arising. So it's not just the relief of suffering, but a natural arising of flourishing of positive qualities that have been hidden, like love and kindness. So I would check it out. That would be my last sense here from New York, saying, hey, check it out. You can do it because you're not doing it, but you already are it. So enjoy. Hope to see you all again. You're welcome to join me for a longer retreat where we'll go into more of this May 9th and any other time.
Well, thank you so much, Loch, and thank you everyone for asking questions and for joining us today. Just want to end the session by letting you all know that we have another online group practice coming up on Tuesday, May 5th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time with Stephen Batchelor. And you can sign up for more of these calls and view the recordings afterward at tricycle.org/live. And we are providing all these sessions for free. So if you want to help support this and our other efforts, please consider donating at tricycle.org/donate. And that's it. Thank you all again. And hope you're all staying healthy and well.
Yeah, be well, everyone. Lots of love. Take care. See you soon. From everywhere around the world. Take care.
Bye. Thank you, everyone.
Bye. Thanks, Karen. Thanks, Tricycle.